to the goofball army out there. Hi to families. Tell them to get to the next room. Tell them to go to your neighbors because we got goofball news to go over, and it might get crazy.
Typically does, guys. If it's your first episode ever, you got like 30 seconds before we start, so not enough time to go to the bathroom, but go get a drink because trust me, you're probably going to need it there. In the meantime, the rest, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. That way you know about future episodes as well, guys. Buckle your seatbelts if you haven't already. Make sure your tray is in the upright position here, guys, because we are just about ready to get going. And like, whew.
Guys, if you want a crazy ride going forward, a bunch of nonsense, but all nothing but the truth about the Giants, listen in, buckle in, tell a friend.
Let's go.
And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, the New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
I'm Rob, and let's get the show on the road. Happy Thursday.
I keep telling you, we can't do a mobile show.
Why can't we?
I don't know, contract obligations?
We're under contract to no one but ourselves. I don't want to hear we can't.
We
Jay owe it to the fans. Let's go.
Jay wrote the contract. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, we're fucked.
So listen, guys, Giants fans, the combine here is still moving and storylines are getting louder by the hour there. We got new names tied to Giants meetings. We got a couple of surprise cap cuts here that have some ties to the new Giants staff there that just hit the market. And perhaps the biggest headline of all, of course, Kayvon trade chatter heating up there in Indianapolis. We're breaking everything down there, going over what's real, what's just noise, and what just makes all the sense in the world here for the New York Giants. All right, Giants fans. So listen, again, we got absolute insanity going on here with the combine is crazy because the fun / crazy part about it is players are the ones who release who meets with what teams. It's almost like they get to manufacture their own draft buzz, basically. Like teams don't usually announce it. The teams aren't always like, hey, guess what we met with today? And that's what the Giants are doing. They're kind of keeping mum here. So everything we're getting is released by the players as far as who's met with the Giants, who hasn't. And there was a definite theme here today. The theme was corners. And the theme was corners who, for some reason, kept changing schools. I don't know. It's weird. Every single one of them has played for multiple schools. That's just the NIL, I guess, nowadays. Like, that's just life with the NIL. First one we got. Will Lee the third, which I'm sure Jay has a rule about guys with Roman numerals at the end of their name. They're like hyphens. But Will Lee the third, Roman? Texas A&M there. Played also over at Kansas State back in 23. He is the 112th ranked prospect overall in the draft, 15th highest ranked cornerback, again, according to PFF's big board there. 22 years old, 6'1", 189 pounds. Considered above average in press. Does have long arms, so because that's one of these we're looking at with corners. Do they fit what we think Denard Wilson wants to do? Because we've seen what he wants to do for the most part. Between Baltimore, Titans, even his time in Philly, he likes guys who are long-armed and press corners. That's what he likes to do. Aggressive. That's what he wants to play. This past year, Texas A&M, 13 games, 50 tackles, 1 sack, 8 passes deflected, and a 66.5 PFF grade there. I feel like this is a scheme fit guy. And again, I know PFF's not everything, but when I see a 66 PFF grade in college, that kind of scares me.
Yeah.
Like, this is supposed to be the easier talent. That's like batting like 250 in the minors and expecting you to hit 300 as a major. Probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, again, I guess it depends on how much you like PFF. I like PFF stats for specific positions. Corner is one of them. Because stats don't tell you how many big plays they gave up. Stats don't tell you how many catches they gave up. Stats don't tell you if teams kept on going after them because they kept having guys open. You know? So, You know, we'll see, but that definitely scares me a little bit there. We got Davison I'm gonna mess this one up. Igbinison at Ohio State. Played also Old Miss back in 22. PFF's 63rd ranked prospect overall and the 10th highest ranked corner. 21 years old, 6'2", 195 pounds. Can play zone, but is better suited for man. He actually went to school in Jersey, so he's got a Jersey boy there. They actually asked him that about meeting with the Giants when he went to his press conference that he does there at the combine, talking about how nice it'd be to play for a team that's in his hometown backyard there. So we went to Union High School there in Union Township, New Jersey. So Jersey boy,
good old high school over there.
He knows a good pork roll and cheese when he sees one.
That's a tail ham up there. I'm sorry to break it to you.
Screw that, they're wrong. It's a pork roll. Anyway, last year at Ohio State, 14 games, 53 tackles, half a sack, 2 interceptions, and 8 passes deflected, an 81.5 PFF grade. Much more like it. But again, it's a guy that fits the scheme. But what's interesting is he can play zone as well. And it makes you wonder that they talk to him. Is this them just trying to see what they think he fits as far as overall? They think he fits like a press-only kind of scheme? Or are they going to look for more zone coverage than Denard Wilson would typically do? It's
Questions.
Yeah. Next corner, we got Jermod McCoy out of Tennessee. Now, he didn't even play this year. We'll get to that in a second, but spent the last 2 seasons in Tennessee, went to Oregon State back in 23. He's PFF's 12th best prospect overall.
Which is so crazy to me because, like, if you don't play for a year, how are you so highly drafted?
They're going based on the 24 tape.
Yeah. But
so he's the number 1 corner in this draft. And if anything, I'm going to say it this way. And again, we haven't done our full tape yet. We'll start doing that stuff soon here. Start looking at, all the prospects. But when I got a guy number 2 on someone's board at a position that didn't play for a full year, that tells me it's probably not the strongest position in the draft.
Yeah.
So corner's definitely a need for the Giants, but it may not be a good year to have that need. So
correct. And why didn't he play again for this year?
So he tore his ACL in January of 2025.
Huh.
So just a little over a year.
It's a perfect fit for the Giants.
It seems like. So he also is skipping all the workouts. He's skipping the positional drills of the combine because of his, trying to get better from that ACL. Still, he's 13 months removed right now. So he'll wait till his pro day and he'll do something then. And we'll see what they think there. But in 24, he played 13 games, 44 tackles, 4 interceptions, 9 passes deflected. So, listen, a good year and a good year in the SEC. And I think that's part of what's got people excited is you go, okay, well, good year in the SEC, the year under his belt, didn't really get to play, but at least, got to watch film, learn with the coaching staff and stuff like that. Maybe he's a little better. I don't know. That would scare me. And listen, I hate to do that because it's like injuries do happen. Like, what if that's the only injury he has his entire career? Like, injuries will happen. It's a crappy time to get one.
It really is. And it's going to steal. I have to believe it steals from his draft capital. Like, we're going to say he's 12th overall, but, like, is it really? It's like saying that Stuart Sanders last year was 5th overall. And he went in the 5th round.
There was things we didn't know, obviously.
I'm not going to say he's going to drop that far, but it's hard for me, especially coming off an ACL injury. And we all know what happens the first year coming off an ACL is really, you don't play your best, which grant you're a rookie. It's not expected for you to be playing your best, but sometimes it's not as common now in the modern football, but like sometimes you just don't come back the same player.
Now, I will say this. I'm looking at Mel Kiper's last mock draft he did. And he had him going actually number 13 to the Rams. So, that's somebody they seem to like. A lot of guys seem to like him. Again, great 24 tape. And he probably, if it wasn't for the injury, be easily the best corner in this draft, assuming he repeated what he did.
Yeah.
But that's the concern, is how healthy is he? Are you also giving up 1 year of his cheaper money because, like you said, first year back from an ACL, you're not usually the best. Like, these are all things you have to think about and look at when you're looking at this stuff.
I'm just saying, if I was drafting, I don't know if he's at number 12 for me.
If you're drafting, you would just do whatever John Harbaugh tells you to do anyway.
I'm like, John, I've done this for years in fantasy football. I got this.
Now, last one is Mansour Delane, the corner out of LSU, who also played a few years over at Virginia Tech. He is PFF's 11th ranked prospect overall and their top corner on the draft board there. 22 years old, 6 foot even, 190 pounds. Now, this guy is as scheme fit as they get on paper until you measure his arms.
I was about to say.
That's the one thing. He's known to be a press corner guy. He's known to be a fit as far as his playing style, 100% what we want to do, at least what we're thinking the Giants are want to do. He's aggressive. He's great in press. Like, that's what we're looking for, but he's got a little bit of shorter arms. Interestingly enough, he actually grew up a Ravens fan and talked about that at the combine and how awesome that was to be able to go meet with Harbaugh. And that's something I think we haven't really talked about really is there an allure to John Harbaugh for these kids? Like, again, he spent so many freaking years with the Ravens that these kids coming out, they weren't even in elementary school when he started coaching the Ravens. Like, they grew up their whole life with this guy being a winning coach. We're not used to that as a Giant fan, like having an allure to our coach like that.
Yeah.
So, like I said, interesting part there. Last year, 11 games, 45 tackles, 2 interceptions, 11 passes deflected, and a 90.5 PFF grade. And like I said, those shorter arms is the only thing that makes you at all nervous about him there. But that's 4 corners that we knew about. That they talked to, which means they probably talked to much more. Another guy they also talked to was defensive tackle Lee Hunter, who played over at Texas Tech, played for UCF for a few years before that. He's PFF's 33rd prospect overall, their 4th highest rated defensive lineman, 23 years old, 6'4", 330 pounds. Last year for Texas Tech, 14 games, 41 tackles, 10.5 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks, and 1 fumble forced there as well. He's known for run defense. He projects more as a nose tackle, which is a little interesting because we seem to have one already. Just saying, Dexter Lawrence, who's here to stay, much like Jerry Slayton. Had to say that to you, Anthony. I saw the comments, so I had to say that. But it's interesting. He's got a lot. If you look at his scouting report, let me be very clear before I say this. I am not saying that Lee Hunter is the next Dexter Lawrence. Let me just, before I even throw this out there, I'm just going to say that. His scouting report actually reads much like Dexter Lawrence did when he was over at Clemson. He projects as a nose. He is a great run stopper. He can push the pocket a little. It doesn't necessarily get sacks. I mean, isn't that like word for word what you heard on Dexter Lawrence when we drafted him?
Pretty much.
So, like I said, he fits the mold I think the Giants should be looking for. It's just, could he coexist with Dexter Lawrence? Because he can also play a different technique as well. It's not just the one. Here's the other part that I think people aren't talking enough about. What happened every single time Dexter Lawrence got off the field for the last couple of years? 10-yard run up the middle.
Fair. So what are you saying?
I'm saying it makes sense to me to get a guy that could play next to Dexter Lawrence and slide in when he takes a break.
That's fair.
It really does, because that's been an issue. Again, our defensive line quality overall has been an issue. Again, talking the front level guys, not the edge rushers. That's been an issue now for many years. So I fully think that we're going to get a guy day 1, day 2 that fits that kind of mold. And I think we're going to sign a guy that fits that kind of mold as well. I think the defensive line is definitely going to be addressed in this offseason. We'll find out. Who knows? But it's interesting because if you look at all the guys that the Giants at least have been confirmed to be talking to, now after 2 days of us getting reports in this, it's linebackers, defensive linemen, and corners. And again,
beefing up that D.
There's probably more that we don't know about. So we'll have to find out. Keep in mind, it's up to the players to announce who they've met with. For example, Caleb Downs, who we all think the Giants have at least some level of interest in. I think it's safe to say. What level can be debated right now because it's smoke and mirror time of the year. But everybody knows that I have at least some interest in him. And when he got to the podium, he just said, I've met with over a dozen NFL teams, and that's all I'm going to say. You don't think the Giants one of those dozen?
100%.
But we can't confirm it because he won't say it, the team won't say it. So, like I said, don't think that's all they're looking at. But it's just interesting now how many freaking defensive players. It's like all defensive players the Giants are talking to. At least that's been confirmed.
Yeah.
For a team that spent so much money on this defense.
Well, we spent a lot of money patching up holes that were problems for a long time, and which you had to. And we're not a destination where a lot of players want to go to because we've been bad. Let's be honest, bad for 10 years.
Yeah,
and
it's because we keep on getting players off of Temu basically to go ahead and fill the roster.
Exactly. So yeah, you got to beef with the players. Through the draft. So I think we should get sponsored by Blue Chew and talk about how we're going to beef up our D.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad though, considering we just went out and got a high-priced, safety, a high-priced corner. We got Dexter Lawrence, who's paid a ton of money. We're paying Bobby Okereke a ton of money. We're paying Brian Burns a ton of money. We're paying, we spent a top 3 pick on Abdul Carter. We spent a top 5 pick on Kayvon Thibodeaux. And here we are still talking about defense.
Yeah. Defense wins rings, Drew. I don't know if you've ever heard
that
statement before.
What I was saying is you would think with that kind of capital spent, the issue would be the offense. It's still the defense. That's craziness.
Yes and no, because part of the problem of our defense has been terrible coaching. So we got to see where that goes. And yes, obviously, we've had problems stopping the run. So what are you going to do to beef that up? We've had terrible corners, which we've known, even though we spent a lot of money on corners. And just because you spent money on one doesn't mean it solves the problem.
Yeah, I just, like I said, it's crazy to think we spent so much money on defense, so much time and effort, and it's still just a cluster. It's absolutely insanity. It's like, buying a house and putting so much money into your kitchen and having to redo the whole goddamn thing. That's what I feel like we're at. And I'll say this, and I see Jay put this in the, in the chat as well. He says, I'm scared of first-round cornerback or the 2 offensive linemen, the Alabama kid and the Miami kid. That's 2 positions, sorry, I would avoid like the plague. I feel like corner is such a crapshoot.
Especially this draft.
And then on top of that, tackle, such a crapshoot. You already got a left tackle. You don't need to go out and get a top pick necessarily. Listen, if you can get 2 great corners, 2 great tackles, great. But assuming we lose Illuminor, day 2, go get a tackle day 2.
Yeah,
fair enough. But it's just, like I said, it's just absolute insane. Unless they're that dead set on a player. But they're putting their reputation on the line right off the bat. And what I mean is they're putting Joe Shane's reputation on the line. Because think about this for a second. It's a really crappy position. It's a really crappy position for Joe Shane to be in because he's now the guy who basically runs the scouting department, like we said it before. Like, that's the reports coming out of Pat Leonard. And if this pick doesn't pan out, it's on him.
And guess what? If it doesn't pan out, say goodbye to Joe.
Right? And it could not even be his pick. He could have been like, no, that's not who I wanted. Seriously, that's the crazy part. Like, he's set up to be the lame duck guy. It's crazy. And don't get me wrong, I am not advocating for Joe Shane in this. I'm just pointing out the weird scenario this is. I have no problem with him taking his licks because Jake, he's beat me to the punch today, but he says he's a prick to people, especially negotiations. Like, yeah, that's an issue. You know, I mean, I think the big one I keep going back to is when Nick McLeod was told to take a pay cut, wouldn't do it. And Joe Shane reportedly said to McLeod's representatives, and I got the exact quote here. He said, "Don't pay October's rental right. As soon as I can replace him, I'm going to replace him. I'm not effing around." That's what he said to his representatives, according to his representatives. And Jordan Ronan is the one who actually pronounced that initially to the public. So that's a pretty reliable source usually. Like, I'm just saying, I just want to also acknowledge, while I don't think he's necessarily the nicest guy in the world, I just want to acknowledge he's kind of in a crappy scenario.
Which is fair. You still be a prick and you still be in a bad position.
Yeah. We also got to give a shout out to the friend of the show, James Canada. Big game. James in the house. What's up, man?
Yo.
But listen, like I said, we'll see if anything else comes out. We'll let you guys know more as more and more comes out. The only thing of note I want to give, because listen, guys, we don't typically on the show give you like all the specs of like this guy lifted this 5 times and this guy did this and this time, like underwear Olympics. We've always said that. We want to go ahead and give you actual game knowledge. Okay, like we watched the film on this guy. This is what happened. This is what it looks like. That matters a whole lot more to us than somebody playing catch in front of a bunch of reporters. That's what matters more to us. But the one thing I do want to mention, because a lot of GMs, a lot of scouts care about this kind of stuff. We have talked about the Giants being in a position to potentially trade down. And I still think that's what's going to happen. The one news that came out as far as measurements and that kind of stuff there is Miami edge rusher Ruben Bain Jr. His arm is measured in at 37/8. They say 32 is the magic number. Anything below 32 is not considered good. So you got to wonder if he's going to drop on some people's boards because of that. Because every year there's this moron who's like, "Oh, I love this player. He played great in college, but unfortunately his arm's 1 inch too short."
Yeah, 1 inch and an eighth. My God.
So, but this is a guy that
what you said
potentially would be there at pick 5 for us, and potentially be a guy that somebody would want to trade down to go get. You know, like, and unfortunately, that very well may have ruined it. The guy's got 20 sacks at Miami in 3 years. He's an All-American this year. 9.5 sacks, 15.5 tackles for loss.
Just think, he had an extra inch and an eighth. He could have had.
Listen, I always wonder what happens if I added an inch and an eighth. Just saying.
I don't want to know. La.
I just like I said, I think we're keeping an eye on that kind of stuff for us, because again, I think this is a guy that again is potentially there at 5 that somebody could, like the Bengals. I mentioned that as often as a guy that I think might be looking to trade down a little bit to get an elite pass rusher. Here's a guy that we have a potential issue with now, you know, but we'll have to see what happens there. Again, it's not for our benefit. It's just for the benefit of a trade potentially. So we also got to talk about what things that are going outside of the combine. But before we do that, we do got to remind you all, of course, that you can go on buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs, where, of course, you can do weekly support payments there. Monthly support payments there, of course, with one time as well. Like I said, we always want to make sure you guys are aware of that, because we know some of you like to support us. We always appreciate those that do, but that's the way that actually takes the least amount of money from us in the process. And of course, we have the 2 Giant Goofball shop, 2giantgoofballs.shop.4thwall.
Let them cook.
Where, yeah, listen, I keep on saying I'm going to buy that, and I keep on every time I sit at my computer, I forget to buy one myself. How crazy is that? It's our shop; we have to buy them.
Terrible.
But I love that one. That one, when I designed that one, I was like, there we go. That's the one. That's the one. But yeah, like we got shirts, we got towels, we got pins, we got mugs, we got travel mugs. I looked up the term. They're called travel mugs. Remember yesterday, I was like, I don't know what they call those things you bring with you and you put liquids in. Travel mugs, apparently.
Tumbler.
Well, tumbler's a different thing. Does it have a handle? If it has the handle, it's a travel mug. If it doesn't, it's tumbler. That's apparently the difference. Listen, you've been watching too much Olympics. Anyway, we still have our special going on as well, that if you do get more than $100 at the Goofball merch store there, you do get free shipping as well there. So again, we put in the chat earlier, but the free way to go ahead and support the show also, besides the usual like, subscribe, tell a friend, hit that thumbs up, guys. And if you get in the habit of doing that every episode, much appreciation of that. It's a huge difference on how YouTube goes ahead and spreads this out. So, and if you're not on YouTube, listen, guys, go on YouTube. It's the best platform to watch us, just because they're the one that actually pays us.
Yeah,
we don't hide from the fact that we prefer the platforms that pay us. Support your local content creator. So, all right, we got a couple more things to go over with you guys here outside of the combine as well. There, so a little more talk heating up there as far as potential changes here to the rosters. One big move happened today for the Titans. Well, actually, two, because they traded Sweat, the great defensive tackle, over to the Jets there. But they also released a couple players. Now, we've said we don't expect the Giants to fill this whole roster up with Ravens and Titans and all those kind of guys. But there's going to be probably a couple. So when you get a guy who is cut from the team, one of those two teams, you got to add him to the list of potential suspects for this offseason. And the Titans just released two. That would make sense for the Giants to at the very least look at. The first one is Lloyd Cushenberry, who, if there's ever a guy that sounds like an Italian ice flavor, it's Lloyd Cushenberry.
Yeah.
But 28 years old still. That's crazy. I remember him as a Bronco years ago. I feel like he should be like 30 by now, but he's 28 years old, 6'3", 315 pounds. He's got a 55.2 PFF grade last year overall, 65.5 pass block, 51.2 run block. Now, he only played in 8 games, 2 of the last 4 seasons. So we have to put that in the mix, because you know how much I hate getting guys that have injury histories, because we just keep on getting guys that usually don't have them and somehow still get hurt. So I want to bring in a guy that already has an injury history. But it's been, weird thing. It's not like it's like the same injury over and over again. Like he had a groin injury in 22. He had a torn Achilles in 24. So it's not like, again, it's not like he's got knee issues left and right or anything like that. He did just have recently off-season surgery on his shoulder as well, but he actually played 15 games last year. So it's not like he had a horrible season there like that. He was at the middle of a 4-year, $50 million contract. Titans cleared up $3.42 million, but took on $9.05 in dead cap. And I got to say, that's the biggest thing that makes me go, with Lloyd Cushenberry, besides the fact that he plays center and he's basically like just as good as John Michael Schmitz. Like, I don't see that much of a difference between these two players. So if I want to move John Michael Schmitz to the bench or to a guard position, I want a guy that's much better than him. You know what I mean? Like, I want to improve the position. Unless we think we're going to move one of those two guys to guard, because there's a couple guard spots potentially available. Like I said, that's one that I like I said, makes sense to kind of keep on. But the biggest thing that scares me is the fact that Titans were willing to take a $9 million cap hit to not have him.
Yeah, that's a concern, especially coming from the Titans. Like, I don't know if they're just trying to free up this year.
They got a lot of cap space.
They do, but like, do they want just a complete restart this year?
I think that's what it is, honestly. They're like, let's just get rid of a big contract for a guy that we don't think is in our long-term plans.
Yeah.
So I really think that's what it is. But again, he's not a bad player if he's healthy. It's the one thing. If he's healthy, he's not a bad player. He's not a great player, but he's not a bad player. So, we'll have to see what happens there. The other player that the Titans released is safety Xavier Woods. Now they cleared $3.42 million from him. Last year, 11 games, 39 tackles, 2 interceptions, 3 passes deflected, and a 65.4 PFF grade. Again, 11 games. He lost a couple of games there because of a hamstring issue. It ended up this season on IR. Again, I hate getting somebody with an injury history, but he's been healthy most of his career. Again, guys are going to get hurt. And it kind of sucks to get hurt right after you get cut, but, right before you cut, I should say. But it's his only year he had with Tennessee was last year. But here's the interesting thing is, Dane Belton's going to be gone. I think someone's going to pay him to be a starter, and it's not going to be us. You bring him in to be a veteran guy that you can bring in that at least has some experience in Denard Wilson's defense because he was there last year.
You probably get him a cheaper deal because of his injury.
And you got a guy who's also 30. So it's not like people are like, oh, this is a long-term starter for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's where I'm at. And he's got a lot of experience, guys. 134 games he's played in this league with the Cowboys, the Vikings, the Panthers, and that 1 year with the Titans. And he had over 100 tackles just in 24. So, that's a potential. We need depth in the secondary. We need depth at safety specifically. And here's a guy that can come in as a third safety for us, not guaranteed a damn thing. Pop in there, and then go ahead and, worst case, he's a guy who's starting experience that can pop in if somebody gets hurt. So listen, I think he makes more sense than Cushenberry, depending on what Denard Wilson thinks of him as a fit for the defense. But keep in mind, 1 year with the Titans. And here's what I look at both sides of this whole field. Didn't have a great year with the Titans last year. That's safe to say, right? 39 tackles in 11 games. It's not exactly lighting the world on fire. So did he fit very well? And then I look at the same point of the Titans signed him going into the second year with Denard Wilson. So it wasn't like they got him and then Denard Wilson, like, oh, damn, it's not a fit. Like, they got him with Denard Wilson in mind. Yeah. And then Denard Wilson gets, released from the franchise, and now Woods does as well. So, like I said, I think this is a potential. Somebody to keep an eye on. Xavier Woods is a potential third safety for us there on this roster. And that's an undervalued position because third safeties come in a lot on passing downs. Nickel dime coverage, you see him much more than ever. So I said, we'll see what happens there. Two more things we got to go over here. First, Kayvon talk again. Got a couple of guys out in the media talking about Kayvon Thibodeaux and the potential for a trade. Connor Hughes, friend of the show, had to do that for Jay. We should talk to him about coming on the show again. You didn't even weren't on the last time we had him on. You missed him. But Kayvon Thibodeaux, Connor says on X, Kayvon Thibodeaux, per sources, is a player the Giants are listening to offers on, and the belief from teams here at the Combine is that he will eventually get dealt. I do not get the same sentiment on Dexter Lawrence. This staff loves him and wants him. Dan Graziano says the Giants have a surplus of impact defensive linemen with Brian Burns and Abdul Carter, and it seems much more likely they'll find a trade partner for Thibodeaux than extend the 2022 first-round pick ahead of his fifth-year option season. The question is whether the Giants can find a taker for him at that salary in a deep off-season edge rusher market, but the chatter at the Combine indicates they're going to try. And I don't see why we wouldn't be able to. I mean, I don't think that $15 million number scares people. If he hit the open market, that's probably what he's getting. And you know what you do when you trade for him? You extend him. And you get that number down to $10 million next year. So,
yeah.
Like I said, I don't think there's a chance he's on this roster at the end of the year. At the start of the year, I should say. We'll see. I think he won't even make it to camp, I think he'll be gone before the draft year. This is probably the last, month or two with Kayvon as a Giant.
I feel like if he makes it to the draft, he's here.
Yes.
But if
I will say this, if he makes it to the draft, 85% chance he's a Giant.
Correct. And
who knows what happens if somebody looks to go cut a player like, oh, I'll give you Thibodeaux for him, you know what I mean?
We've got through this. Like, I think you keep the talent where you could have 3 guys where you just kind of put them in and out, but I get the sentiment. Like, you want to save some cap, maybe get somewhere else. Like, I don't know. I 100% agree with it, but like, if he makes it to the draft, I would expect you just kind of put players where they need to go.
I do think too, as well, that I think you'll see the Kayvon move before the draft. By the way, I don't think it'll be a draft day deal. I think you'll see it before the draft because it gives the team a chance to go ahead and try to extend him. Because if you're not going to extend him, you're not going to give a good pick for him. Like, he's not that good that you take that risk and go, you know what, I just need his talent. Let me try for it. But if you can get him and extend him, then it makes sense. So you agree to a deal, you give him like 24, 48 hours, whatever, to figure out an extension, and then you make the trade. You know? So,
pretty much.
We have another trade option to look at here as well. Now, a week or two ago, guys, we did an episode about guys who we think will be cut by their teams that would fit the Giants due to either scheme fit, need, or past relationships within the people in the organization. One of the guys we mentioned is Edmonds, the linebacker from the Bears. He has been given permission by the Bears to seek a trade. So that's one thing to keep an eye on. Now, let me be very clear. I'm not hearing any rumbling specifically saying the Giants are interested. But we've talked about it. The Giants are looking to make moves at linebacker. McFadden is a free agent. Okereke could be a cut candidate. So wouldn't shock me entirely. And I think Edmonds fits the modern NFL linebacker scheme very well. He moves around great. He's good in coverage as well. So I do think he's a guy we might be interested in at the right price. And that's the big thing. Because right now, if the Giants were to trade for him, he's got a 1-year deal, $15 million. Because that's what's left on it's the last year of his contract. I don't think that's exactly very palatable. Like, you don't cut Okereke for $9 million to pick up Edmonds for $15. It just doesn't make sense.
If you're cutting Okereke, you're getting someone at a cheaper deal, like we said.
Yeah.
But especially like you said. Because I said, I'm a fan of Okereke and Tibbs. That's where we disagree on some of the cap. But like, I get the business side, the finance side of it.
Yep.
But if you're trying to build a team around a better defense, like, I would keep Tibbs over Okereke. But exactly, why are you gonna try to save $9 million to go spend an extra $6 million?
Well, here's the thing on that, though. Same as I said a minute ago about Thibodeaux. Like, if you were to get a team to trade for Thibodeaux, that team would probably want to negotiate a new contract with them before they officially make the trade. Kind of a trade and then quickly here's the extension kind of situation. You might see the same thing with a guy like Edmonds. I mean, the $15 million year he has is because of the way they constructed that contract. Let's be very frank. I don't think anybody's trading for him and giving him $15 million. I think $15 million is a pipe dream, but he's going to have to settle for like a 3-year, $34 million kind of contract at that point and just deal with the fact that a lot of that money in that deal was Fugazi. Because that's what it was. That's the kind of deal you give somebody, just to give them a bloated number at the press conference. Say, look, this team gave me $40 million. So what, a $20 million of is bullshit.
Yeah.
That's what happens nowadays. We see it all the time. And again, it's just 28 years old. I don't think anybody has an issue giving a 28-year-old linebacker a 3 or 4 year deal. That's usually what you give. So I'm cool with that. I have no problem with that if they don't have to give up too much for him. And they can, on top of that, go ahead and get a new deal with them. I'm going to throw this question to you, Rob. Let me say hypothetically, we can get the numbers to make sense. Okay, we can get Edmonds. We can get Edmonds for a deal that's close to the numbers that we get if we cut Okereke. I think Edmonds is a better linebacker. At first, do you agree with that part?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I just don't want to assume you're the same boat as I am with that. So
I wouldn't say that much better, but yeah.
Okay. So let's say we're in agreement then that he's a better. What degree is up for debate? That's a whole topic for another day. If you can get him on a long-term deal, a 3-4 year deal for Thibodeaux, would you make that deal? Because the Bears are said to be interested in getting another pass rusher to pair with Montez Sweat.
You're just looking to get me in trouble with the Green Bay fan, but yes.
I'm just saying you're fitting two needs there at that point there, you know? Here, I'll throw you another one. And I look at the contract in this one here because there's two players that I keep on hearing that are up for grab. Well, three, I should say, for the Bears that are up for grabs. And obviously it's Edmonds, Tyson Bagent, the quarterback that they got late a couple of years ago from Shepherd. Remember, you and I were high on him, by the way, coming out. It's like we were right.
Yeah.
We like preached about him. Like people are like, oh no, you're crazy. Nope, we were right. The other guy is DJ Moore. That might be an interesting guy. Now, the only issue with him is the salary cap thing because he's got like 3 more years at $23 million.
Yeah, I would say no to DJ. Like, he's a good player. I think he's a little overhyped to how good he is.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because where he's played and he's not been able to excel to where he could be, but
I'm just throwing that out there because I keep hearing guys talk about we need a receiver. And let's say hypothetically, let's throw this out there for a minute, okay? We can't get Wan'Dale back, okay? Like he extends
that's a different scenario.
Grab that check from Tennessee. Would you trade Kayvon Thibodeaux and a draft pick for Edmonds and DJ Moore?
And a draft pick.
Well, you'd have to if you want both. Or would you trade Kayvon for DJ Moore?
No. Just no. Off that, no. Depends on the draft pick if you're talking about Edmonds and DJ Moore. But if you're straight up, I think Kayvon's a better player than DJ Moore. Like, you bring him over here, like he's probably gonna look worse in blue than Giants blue than he does in Bears blue.
Let me throw you this scenario. Again, I'm just gauging where you're at compared to where I'm at here, but let me see where you're at. We don't have a third round pick. I know that, obviously. Hypothetically, we had a third round pick. Would you trade it for DJ Moore?
Yes.
What do you think we're getting for Kayvon Thibodeaux? You see what I just did, right?
I know what you just said, and I'm
just saying if we think we're gonna get a third round pick for DJ Moore, I'm sorry for Kayvon Thibodeaux, would you not then just trade that Kayvon Thibodeaux that you think is worth a third round pick for DJ Moore? The only issue is the contract. Let's be very frank about that. I already see comments in that. That's the issue.
Yeah, and that's where I fall back on. That's where I'd rather pay Thibodeaux because I think his value of play is better for us than DJ Moore, especially his value of what he's going to come over and what we're going to have to pay for him. So that's the big difference. So if you want to do a straight trade, no. If I'm willing to give up a third round pick for one or the other, and I know what you're doing there.
Yeah. I wasn't being shy about it.
I know exactly what you're doing there, but guess what? Oh, we don't have a third round draft pick. Here, take a guy that's going to cost us $15 million. We'll pay this guy $28 million. And guess what? I think it's less value to my team.
I do want to correct one thing. Not that it makes a massive difference, but you said $28 million. You're getting that because of what Jay put in the chats there. $28.5 million is his cap hit to the Bears as it currently sits. That is not his salary. Hold on. That is not his salary if you trade for him. If you trade for him, his base salary and his workout bonus at that point is what he would get. It's about $24 million. Not that that's a great contract either, but still $4 million is $4 million.
No, it's got to be under 20.
Yeah. And again, that might be a discussion you have to have with him.
It's got to be under 20. It probably has to be under 18.
You need to renegotiate the deal.
It's probably going to have to be under 18.
Would you give him the same money you would give Wan'Dale?
Yes.
Then there we're at.
And I wouldn't give Wan'Dale 20, so.
No. I'm not saying that you would. What I'm just saying is that's what I'm just saying is him as a potential if we don't get Wan'Dale. I'm just throwing weird variables numbers.
I
out
know
here.
you are. DJ Moore has played on multiple teams and he's good, but he's had that point where like I don't think he's better than Wan'Dale necessarily.
They're totally different players is part of the problem. You know? That's really the issue you come into. Like I said, I think if you could get a contract redrawn with him, I'd be interested. I would not be interested at the current numbers.
Well, yeah, because he's going to want close to $50 million, and like
he's not going to get that though. He had 682 yards last year. It was his worst year of his whole career, and he played all 17 games.
Yep.
And as Jay said in the comments, he's going to be 29 years old this year. Now, I think a lot of that was the fact that Rome Odunze kind of had a coming out party there, and I think that's a lot of what it is. But you still got to deal with that. I mean, that's it's something that's going to be there. You're gonna have to look at him as that potential there.
Yeah, I just put it out there because I see Smooth Operative going out there. Moore has proven himself in a longer career set with other teams. Wan'Dale has been in the league a lot less, and he has more potential to get out more, especially if you bring in Davis coming back.
Yeah,
people are going to be seeing a different tune about him. We know what DJ Moore is, and you bring Moore over here, he's not going to be a clear number one. And he's not going to be the clear number two. So I'd rather pay less for a guy that I think is going to play better in a position in this team.
Yeah.
Because DJ Moore is going to be trying to fight for number two, but he's probably going to be number three. And with his age going in there, like at least Wan'Dale, he's younger, he's healthy, and you kind of know where you're going to get at him. And as a number one receiver, which he shouldn't have been, he's had a damn good year.
Yeah, I mean,
he's going to have a better year coming back. With Malik Neighbors.
I think you look at Wan'Dale as a guy with a higher ceiling than DJ Moore, while DJ Moore has the better resume.
That's fair. He's also played in the league a lot longer.
Yeah, and it has 100%.
And Wan'Dale, right? How many years he's been in the league?
4 now. Yeah, 4.
Rookie year. Plays 9 games, tears an ACL, comes back year 3, doesn't play that great because guess what? No player plays that great coming off an ACL. And look what happens last year, 1,000 yards. So like he's proven himself where he can get that. Like in that 9 games, what he have like 600 yards?
I think, yeah. I mean, again, it's just a matter of if we don't get Wan'Dale, is that a potential?
It is.
And
that's what I'm talking about.
I think you have to get him to rework the deal, which is easier said than done. The only reason he would do it is if he really just wants out of Chicago that bad. Otherwise, Chicago has no reason to get rid of him. They're just going to hold on to him, and he's going to sit deep in the depth chart where last year, Colston Loveland was their top receiver, their tight end. Rome Odunze and Luther Burton are both young guys they drafted in the last year or two that are now kind of above him. Cole Kmet gets some touches. Like, DJ Moore's in his last years of being a better receiver in this league. So he has the option of going elsewhere or wasting away in Chicago.
He's probably going to waste away back to the Falcons.
Yeah. I don't think that's necessarily crazy to think that it's a possibility. How high a possibility, we'll find out. But, we'll see what happens. There's a lot of movement going on right now that you hear rumors about. So there's actually a big rumor that the Raiders are going to want to trade with the Bears when they get rid of Max Crosby, and they're going to want Rome Odunze and a first-round pick, I'm hearing. So just to get a weapon for their new quarterback there.
I don't think the Bears take that trade, but
the Bears, from what I heard, offered DJ Moore instead of Rome Odunze.
That's and a first.
So again, we'll see.
That's early. Something. Listen, that's something I would take.
Yeah, like I said, we'll have to see. Smooth Opera says, "How much does Waddle make a year?" We went over Waddle. Waddle's contract. You think DJ Moore's bad?
I think we would have to pay him 26 because he was like 30 with the Dolphins or something like that.
No, it was like $30 million for him, and his numbers are
worse.
Pretty much the same as DJ Moore, except DJ Moore only had 1 year of this 700-yard almost season. Everything else has been like 900,000. That's what he does typically. So yeah, his number is, let's see here, because his contract's crazy. He's got like roster bonuses and all that kind of stuff there. Let's see, his guaranteed salary. Let's see here, 33 minus the signing bonus. So he's $30 million in 27 and 28. This year he's not so bad. Jalen Waddle. I'm not paying Jalen Waddle $30 million. Sorry, not going to happen.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Not going to happen. You think 23 is bad for DJ Moore? Oh my God, that's 25%, 125%. So
listen, I just wanted to rant about wide receivers making 25 now. I don't want to pay that. Two guys going to be number 2 or number 3.
Yeah, like I said, it's crazy. Unless you want to get him for 1 year and then try to convince him to redo the contract again. I guess that's an option, but we'll find out. I'm still hoping we bring Wandell back, and all that talk is for nothing.
Yeah, me too.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll find out. So, but all right, guys. So we're gonna be back again for you Monday. We're gonna be going over any other news that happens to come out of the combine between now and then. I do think we might next week start talking about the drafts, guys, because we don't want to do it last year. Last year, Rob and I were kind of like rushing to finish up the positions before the draft hit, because we kept having so much off-season stuff on free agency and stuff like that. So, like I said, we'll take a look and see what happens there. But we will, like I said, we'll definitely be on next week as usual, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. So as always, as we lost Rob, as always, we are live on YouTube, of course, with being the preferred platform with Facebook, X/Twitter, Twitch, and of course, Rob's favorite, my LinkedIn profile. And of course, as always, we're available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora. Of course, available usually within 24 hours on video, along with the audio on Spotify as well there. So appreciate you guys for watching, listening, supporting as always. And like I said, we'll be back again. See you Monday. Have a happy, safe weekend there. Hopefully you guys get no more snow, all y'all in the Northeast. Craziness. Keep on seeing pictures of everybody I know up there with the snow. See you guys there on Monday. Appreciate you guys as always. And as always, Giant fans, go G-Man! Go G-Man! G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.